All right, this morning I want to talk a little bit about military research, more for the contextual stuff and the things that you'll find in unit level records. And I'm specifically looking at World War II this morning for a client project that I'm working on. This is an infantry division, and they are occupying forces in Germany starting in May 1945. Now, one of the things that a lot of people will want to know is what happened to them while they were in combat. But just because combat ended doesn't mean that the stress, the trauma, the things that they witnessed or had to be a part of ended. And those things might have impacted them just as much and sometimes more than things that they experienced in combat. It's different for everybody. It's important that we know these things so that we can understand ourselves better, understand the inherited trauma that's been passed down, the depression we might be carrying, or this overwhelming grief, or these triggers, or these nightmares, or things that show up that we don't understand may have roots in the past, in the war. So it's a good idea to take a look at this. Now, one of the things, again, I always say you never know what you're going to find in the military records, whether it's an individual service file, their death file, company morning reports maybe, or unit level records. Sometimes the most interesting and odd things can get thrown in. Now, an interesting thing that I discovered in one set of unit records for this division this morning was a translated letter written by a Julius Contrat. He was a German, he was in the Nazi Party, and he decided in May of 1945 that instead of turning himself in and becoming a POW, he was going to unalive himself. So he wrote a letter. That letter is translated and it is in the file. It is like 6 paragraphs long. He names his wife and he names all 4 of his children. And he basically says, I just do not see any way forward because I do not want to be a POW. And he tells his wife how much he loves her and their children and the things that he wishes they could have had as their life. But he doesn't want to be a POW. He does not want to endure years of jail and whatever else might happen. And he says one line that I think every single veteran in any war can say: I did nothing but my duty doing what I was ordered to do. Now, whether you're on the sides of the winners or the losers, the good guys or the bad guys, depending on how you define that, I think every single person who served can say that. I was doing my duty and I did what I was ordered to do. And the people in charge didn't care about the effects of that duty. The people that did the duty then had to live with that. Their families had to live with that. And we have had to live with that down through the generations. I can tell you from personal experience, using tools like the Genogram, which I now offer sessions for clients, in addition to the military research services and the writing services and other things that I do, I help families identify those different patterns that keep getting passed down. We start to look for the root of that, and we do a little energy work with it too. But using that tool, I discovered I was living part of my grandparents' World War II story for many years. And it took me very focused over the last three years to really start to untangle that in layers and to stop living those patterns, to heal them, and to release my grandparents and myself from carrying this really heavy traumatic stuff that was basically screwing up my life. So go beyond what happened to your family members in combat. Now, this Julius said to his wife in this letter, when you find this, take the pistol, take the letter, and give it to the mayor of the town. The mayor will then turn it in to the commandant of the American military government. Imagine being on the receiving end of that, or being one of those veterans who was recovering these sorts of remains, or these people, or arresting POWs that escaped, or dealing with DPs, or some of the Germans that were trying to escape, dealing with all of this other stress, knowing that their life was still probably in some kind of danger, because not every German got the memo right away that the war was over. And things were still not completely safe. A lot of men still died after the war ended on paper because of accidents, many different kinds of accidents. So we need to go beyond what happened to them in combat and look, especially if they were not discharged right away and they were part of an occupying force, or they were being trained to go over into the Pacific theater potentially, what else happened to them? We need to stop keeping secrets. We need to stop whispering about it, and we really need to do our due diligence and look at these different patterns and look at how they're affecting us. It's time to bring the darkness into the light and start to heal. Are you ready? If you're interested, I am taking new military clients right now, and I do offer genogramma facilitation sessions where we can start to dive into those patterns. We can look specifically at military, or we can look at other patterns that are showing up. Or if you're just not sure what exists in your family, we can do that too. There'll be a link below, or you can, if you're on Instagram watching this video, you can go to the link in my bio and take a look at all the different services I offer. Reach out, let's have a conversation. I offer free military research consults. Bye.